Hi guys, well thanks for watching the video. If you clicked on it, obviously you want some information on the Yamaha Eluder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the spec list on the Eluder and the cost and a couple other items that it has. I'm also going to compare it to the Star Venture, which is the full transcontinental version of this bike. So I'll kind of toss in some things here and there. Just real quick, if you haven't watched my previous video, it was a review on the Yamaha MT-10, which was a bike I purchased after an accident I was involved in with my Yamaha Raider. And after about 2 months of owning it, put about 2,000 miles on it. It was a really great bike. I just decided that that wasn't going to suit me for the style of riding that I wanted to do, and I just felt I really wanted something comfortable, and I figured if I'm going to buy what I want, I might as well just do it now and be done with it. So I sold that bike. I think I added, in my previous video, I talked about adding a couple things to it. I did add the new seat, the bags, the windshield, and the luggage rack, which was all easy to install. So if you have that bike and that's what you're wondering, if you can, how well can you do it by yourself, it is absolutely easy. Everything comes with instructions and all the parts that you need, and they're very well broke down as far as how to actually install them on the bike. So I did kind of turn into a sport tourer, just decided that wasn't the bike for me, and the luggage capability on it just wasn't to the, I guess, the capacity that I was hoping for. We rode it down to Ocean City, Maryland for Bike Week this year, and I think that was kind of my turning point. I said, you know what, that's just not going to be the bike that I want to have, and decided to then switch up and go back to a cruiser. And I think just for me personally, I like the V-twin. I also just like the cruiser style, and so I decided to make that switch before I was too deep into the other bike. Like I said, I had a 2014 Yamaha Raider, was involved in an accident with it, totaled it. So that's how I ended up with this. And I think overall I've probably put about 1,600 miles on this. I bought it back in October, but with the crappy weather we've been having in central Pennsylvania, it really wasn't working out too well. Just to get this out there real quick, I'm not being sponsored by Yamaha or the dealership or anybody to do this. I'm not making any money off this video. I'm just simply doing it because I haven't been able to find anything online as far as a spec video or something for somebody to kind of get a grasp on the bike. There's just been videos of dealerships are saying, oh, this is what we got, or here's a quick blip of this bike. And I know I've had a lot of people ask me questions about my bike in person, so I figured I'm just going to throw this together real quick and just kind of get something out there. So we're going to take a look at this bike. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the 2018 Yamaha Eluder GT. I did buy the GT package, which adds a couple different things. We'll kind of go over that and the price difference between the standard and the GT package itself. So this is, like I said, the bagger version. The Venture comes with an electronic windshield, comes with a trunk, comes with the forward and reverse motor on it. This is just kind of a stripped down version of it. This comes in 3 different colors. You can get the Raven, which is the black with the black wheels. It's pretty much all blacked out with the red trim on the wheel. There's an Impact Blue, which kind of reminds me of a Cobalt Blue. Has black wheels, black exhaust, and black accents on it as well. And then the Liquid Silver color has some black and red pinstriping on it. The body's silver with black wheels and black accents, the black exhaust. The Star Venture, though, everything is chromed out, and that comes in 2 colors. You have, I think it's like a ruby red and some sort of like a steel gray color. Both of those look very good on the bike, and I think it was a fantastic choice by Yamaha. The standard version of this bike comes in at about $22,499, and then about $1,000 to $1,500 more gets you the GT package, which includes the satellite navigation, satellite radio, the CB radio, and the alarm system that comes on this, because it is a keyless ignition, but it also has locking bags and another locking compartment up front, which we'll kind of go over once we make it a little bit farther into this. This is a 113 cubic inch or an 1854 cc V-twin. It is air-cooled, 8-valve. This bike is pushing about 126 pound-feet of torque. I think the horsepower is rated about 90 in that range. It has a 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, and with twin sparks on both cylinders. The fuel delivery system in this is the Yamaha fuel ignition with the YCCT and the D mode, which again we'll go over that because there are controls to change like the mapping throttle on the throttle itself. The ignition is a TCI, it's a transistor controlled ignition, and the transmission is a 6-speed multi-plate assist with the slipper wet clutch in it. And I think hands down, out of all the bikes I've ever ridden, between Harley, Kawasaki, Yamahas, it's one of the best feeling clutches and smoothest transmissions you'll find on especially a large V-twin. But I think it's probably one of the best that you'll feel on any bike. I'd like to compare it to the Goldwing just to see what that has, but I've never ridden one. So, yeah, and the final drive is belt, and I think it's I haven't had any issue with it. My old Raider was a belt as well, and it seems to do really, really well. The maintenance on the belt was very, very minimal, and I think I put about 6,000 miles on my other bike before it was wrecked. The chassis on this bike, the front suspension is a dual 46 millimeter telescopic forks with about 5 inches of suspension travel. The rear suspension is a single shock with a remote preload and about 4.3 inches suspension travel. So underneath this plate here, you can actually stick a screwdriver in a little wheel and you can crank up the rear suspension, or the preload on the rear suspension, which is really, really nice. The front brakes is dual 298 millimeter hydraulic brakes, and the rear is just a single 320 millimeter disc brake. Both equipped with ABS and UBS. The UBS is Unified Braking System. So basically, that is if you press the pedal or pull the front grip just a little too hard, it'll actually even the braking out, and it just kind of helps you from really coming down on one brake or the other to control your stop. You can feel it kick in. So if you really start to grab your front brake, you can actually feel your rear brake a little stiff. And it actually works really, really well. I've had to slow down a couple times at a pretty quick pace. And I really thought that the braking system was phenomenal on this bike. This bike is about 877 pounds. You lose 2 pounds if you get the standard version. That's just because of the couple extra things that they add on. But you don't feel it when you're riding, especially, I mean, even when you're just sitting here, you don't feel the heaviness of the bike. The Venture is about 80 pounds more. It's up in the high 900 range. And that was what I test rode originally. And I did not have any problem at all just hopping onto that bike and going. Once you get it under power, it stands straight up, no problem. The ground clearance on this bike is 4.9 inches, so it gives you a pretty decent ride height to it. The front wheel is 130 by 70 on an 18-inch rim, and the rear is a 200 by 55 on a 16-inch rim. And this bike comes stock with Bridgestones. And I've ridden it in snow, ridden it in rain, some sleet, and just dry ground, and they handle phenomenal. I haven't had a reason to say I need to switch them up for anything different. And I probably would stick them back on again unless somebody shows me a tire that's, completely, I would say better. I wouldn't say completely different, but just something better. These things perform phenomenal, especially going around some tight turns and stuff like that. Haven't had it slip out on me at all, and the traction holds itself really, really well. So the dimensions of this bike: 98 inches long, 38.4 inches wide, and 50.2 inches tall. Now I did add the taller windscreen. That is a separate cost. It's about $120 off of Yamaha's website. The other one that I have is just a chopped version, which I'll show you once we get a little bit closer to the bike and we go over like the dashboard and all that stuff. The seat height is 27.6 inches. I'm not sure that you're going to find much anything lower. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, and I can plant both feet no problem. And I really don't feel like I'm stretched out or anything like that to try and hold the bike up. I can plant them firmly. I still got a nice little bend in the knee, and I have control of the bike as I'm just sitting here. I have had somebody on the back, and even then, I don't feel like I'm having any issues. Obviously, that will drop it down a little bit, but this bike handles 2 people phenomenally, especially with the power that it pushes too. So the bike comes equipped with a 6.6 gallon tank. It lasts you a good bit. Now, being a 1900cc, this thing can chew through fuel if you're out just joyriding. But if you're on the highway, I went up to a buddy's place, which was about 60 miles from door to door up a highway. You're kind of climbing a mountain too, going up northern Pennsylvania, and really great on fuel. I think it was averaging 43 to 45 miles to the gallon. Yamaha claims this thing gets 34 average. If I'm just cruising around, just having fun, I'm chewing through gas pretty quick. It does have a fuel gauge on it, which I really, really like. I don't like, you know, just having a random light come on. I think this light comes on when you have like 30 miles left, give or take. And then it just flags you, says you need fuel. Like I said, the weight on it's about 877 pounds, 875 if you get the non-GT package. But I think, you know, if you're going to do a lot of riding, or, you know, you're going to be out constantly on it, to get the GT package may be worthwhile, you know, for the navigation purposes and the radio. I don't use the satellite radio. I use my Bluetooth. That stuff we can go over then. This bike is equipped with dual alternators on it, and they're pushing 750 watts total, which is fantastic. So this has a 12-volt plug down underneath the left side of the cowling here. Runs the whole infotainment system. I've also added a USB on the back handle for a passenger to be able to plug their phone or whatever they need to into it, and I'll show how I did that. And the battery comes with a nice little terminal block on it, which really, really gives you, you know, easy capabilities of adding stuff like that. This has a heated front and rear seat, and this bike doesn't come standard with the heated grips, but they are OEM from Yamaha, because the Star Venture comes with the heated grips. I did add the heated grips. I think the cost of that was about $280, about $300 I would say, for the grips, and then it's plug and play. Everything that I put on here for the GT package was all plug and play, along with the grips. So the wires and everything, the brackets, it's already fabricated for that. You just literally have to run the wire, take out the little plug end, or the cap on the plug, and snap it right in, and it automatically identifies into the bike. So other than that, I'll bring you over. We'll look at like the infotainment system and all the controls, and then I'll show you the storage. The luggage, the bags back here are about 9.9 gallons, I believe, a piece. And then if you get the trunk, or if you get the Venture, the trunk adds 18 gallons, I believe. I think that bike's total like 36 or 38 gallons overall. It's significantly higher than the Goldwing, and I'm pretty sure it's higher than any of the Harley Davidsons you can get. I believe from doing the research that it is pretty much the #1 for the most storage space, because you can fit 2 full-size helmets, and I feel like you can even stack a coat in there if you wedge it in just right. And that's 2 full-size helmets as well. So there's a lot of storage space. I know I've been able to add a lot. I think even in one bag I was able to add like 5 days worth of clothing with a pair of boots and some other things. All right, so this is pretty much what the dashboard looks like. I'll zoom out here real quick so you can take a glance at like the handlebars and stuff like that. So I'll eventually go over everything that's here on the left side of the bike, and then everything over here, just to kind of talk about some things. But I'll fire up this infotainment system here real quick for you. So this bike, like I said, it is equipped with a little key fob, which that was probably not a good way to go about that. I don't know if it'll zoom in on that. It's a little key fob. It does give you a key in the back here. That's the only thing that accesses the saddlebags, but you can lock and unlock the bike. So in order to do this, you actually have to push down. You can hear it click, and then turn the system on. And then it goes through this nice little procedure. Everything on this bike is LED, from the dashboard to the lights on the turn signals and all the headlights, and you can even get the fog lights as well. All right. So everything can be controlled from your left handlebar, if you so choose. Now I set my home screen for the navigation, because it's something nice to just look at if you just need something to glance. But you can also see roads. It tells you if there's one ways. It'll tell you traffic lights. It'll tell you just about anything you need to know, and it's a great feature, and a lot of information on there. It gives you a digital readout as far as the a digital readout of your speedometer. That's where I'm trying to go with that. And then everything here. The screen is touch screen. It is a 7-inch display. You can go in here, you can control your audio, your comm system. Like I said, a CB radio on it, so you can talk to any bike that has a CB. There's a little trigger that's off the handlebars. I'll go over all that then. The function allows you to turn on the seat heaters and the grip heaters, and it has 3 levels for each one. There's a high, medium, and low, and then you can even set the intensity for the high, medium, low in the actual settings of the bike, and you can set the back one to turn up, so far. Make your medium, set at like a level 5, and then their medium set at like a level 8. I think it goes 1 to 10 or something like that. So you can set that, depending on how you're, you and your rider have as far as preferences go. The grip heater's the exact same way, high, medium, low, and then you can set the intensity, I believe, for each one of those. When these things are on high, they really push some heat even through the gloves. Usually I ride a medium. This has the windscreen it's for the Venture. They just use the same infotainment system. Yeah, so anyway, you can go back here. Settings gives you everything. Gives you little kind of like places to go for the settings. And then everything's just by a simple click on the controller over here, if that's what you choose to use. Navigation gives you all that stuff there. I was already in the settings. Audio, like I said, you can Bluetooth it. You can have AM, FM radio, auxiliary, Pandora, USB. So there's the radio itself, and these speakers are loud. Probably turn that down so I don't get flagged for music that's not mine. Don't need that. Anyway, so then once you hit the home button, it goes right back to there. Or you can go to another home, which gives you the voltage reading of your bike, gives you the outside air temperature, the fuel range for however much you have left in your tank. You can click that over, it gives you your average fuel. Like I said, like when I ride around town, 28 to 30 is average, depending on how much you're throttling up. Gives your average speed. It gives you how long the system's been on, so you can calculate how long your ride's been. And then it even gives you like live updates up in the top as far as the different controls or the streets and stuff like that, time, and then it gives you all the readout on the bottom of your signals and stuff like that. All right, so here real quick is the left side of the handlebar. On this spot here, this is how you control the infotainment system. If you want to use the handlebars, like I said, you can touch the screen itself. You have your turn signals, your horn, your volume control, your high beams, low beam, and pass. This switch allows you to add the fog lights, which are like $300 some. I'd love to put them in because I think it'd look really nice on the front end. And those are plug and play as well, but that's a switch on how to use them. And then if you can tell in the back here that the brakes are actually adjustable. So if you pull the handle forward, you can switch it, and it gives you 5 different settings to go to. The toggle for the CD radio is on the back side of that. So we'll see if we can. Yeah, so right in there, I don't know if it's gonna focus, maybe not. Right there, it's the little, you can pull that in and it flags you. All right, so now here you have your right side of the handlebar. You've got your little 4-ways down here, your starter, cruise control activation switch, or your on-off switch. Here's your activation, works just like a car. You have your mode switch, which allows you to change the throttle mode to either touring or to sport mode. All that does is just makes it a little bit, you just twist a little less if you're in sport mode, and it gives you more power. You just get to 100% throttle a lot quicker. If you go into touring, it's just kind of, it would be like a normal throttle. So 0% all the way at 0, 100% all the way, 100% twist. Put it in sport mode. I think what I found is you hit full throttle, like 50% twist or 75% twist. It just kind of allows you to boost that up just a little bit quicker. There's nothing on the back side of that. Then you have your on-off switch here for the ignition itself. The brake and the clutch are both adjustable handles, which is nice, and they're both hydraulic, and they are very, very easy to pull. And your hands don't really get tired, especially in traffic, trying to yank them back and forth, starting and stopping. On the Star Venture, on the back side of this handle here, would be switch to engage and disengage, or to forward and backward to allow the electric motor to help you put in a spot. So there's shore park system, which I tried it when I tried the Venture out, and it is actually really, really nice. Especially if you have to back the bike into a spot, you can just flip the little handle down when you're in neutral, and then you use that switch to go back and forth. And it really, really does help out and saves your legs. And then here on this side, on the Venture, would be the controls for the electronic tilting windshield. So they just put a cap here. The one thing I can say I'm not a major fan of on this bike is the gas cap, which you actually have to be an accessory or have the bike off. You hold in the unlock button. I got to get rid of this foam mount. I'm not a fan of it, and I don't know why I put it there. But I don't like how this thing flips up backwards, and it's just a cheap, flimsy plastic piece. I wish it would have been maybe just a coated aluminum or some sort of metal door. The gas cap's nice. You just push in a little button on the side. The gas cap comes out, and then all you do is once you put it back in and you twist, the little button comes back out. I'm not sure if you can see, probably not. Let me move you around here real quick. So yeah, here's the little button. You just push it in. I don't usually ride with my phone there, only because it just seems like it gets in the way of the infotainment system, so I've just started putting it in the little compartment. Okay, so on the right side, as well as the left side, there's a little compartment. This has a little USB port and an auxiliary port in there. I usually just set my phone in there on the Bluetooth and then just close it up. This is a locking compartment as well as 2 saddlebags, so if you were to hit the lock button here, it will lock this one down. Unlock it, obviously it'll open up. This is another thing that I wish was made out of maybe just a lightweight metal of some sort, because easily somebody could just take that off. This is all plastic. And to get to some of the plugs and fuses and stuff, you have to actually remove this thing out of there. And after I pulled that out, I realized that, realistically, if somebody wanted something out of here, they could just tear that off. So I wouldn't suggest putting anything expensive in there. You can probably lock maybe an iPod or something. Now I'll stick my wallet and my phone up here if I'm riding it, but then I'll take it out when I'm done. But if I want to lock it up with something, I'll put it in the saddlebags. It's a lot harder to get into those. But these are nice little compartments to just slip your phone. Now I do have the Samsung Note 8, and it really takes up I just have to slide it in. I can't actually plug it into anything, but it's still I can fit my wallet and stuff in there as well. And the other side has it, but the other side is not lockable. So that I just usually kind of throw something simple into. And then, so like I said, it has this guy here, nothing. Down here, I just stick my riding gloves in here, but you can put about 2 pounds worth of stuff in there. Like I said, I don't even know what else you could put in there because it's kind of on a funky angle, so anything you put in that might roll will just come right out of it. But it is weather sealed as well. And then this does have a crash bar down in front of the front foot peg here. It's just kind of hidden by all the plastic there, and the fog light mounts inside that. Right there is your 12-volt plug. So I'd like to stick like a phone charger or something into that and then run the wire up. So here's an inside look of the saddlebag. Like I said, it's about 9.5 or 9.9 gallons or something. At the bottom here, they put like a small tool bag or tool pouch that you can, it actually is recessed down inside pretty well. There's like a little pocket in there you can strap it down into. These bags actually come off really easily. There's a bolt here. There's another bolt just down underneath the back here. And there's one on the front and rear. Right there's the top one, and there's another one back here. And it literally pops off. They're on bushings too, so they don't smack around or anything. They're very quiet when they vibrate going down the road. These are weather sealed as well. And like I said, they're electronically locking. And I added, I bought this up at Cycle Gear. They are jumper cables for motorcycles, and it actually fits just perfect in the back of the bag here. It's just something nice to have, especially if you're out riding a lot, or you're riding with people and you just need to do a quick jump. And like I said, the battery on this bike has a really nice terminal setup on it. I would suggest taking, I think this seat comes off with a single bolt on the front, and then the seat lifts up. So you just want to make sure you have that kind of tools with you, if you're out doing extensive riding. Like I said, the bike does have a key that's inside the fob itself that allows you to, if you pull this little rubber cap off, you can just take the key. On the back side of the fob, there's a little switch. You just pull it out, and then you could actually stick it in here and manually lock it if you need to. Otherwise, the electronic locking, you can kind of, here, it doesn't let you lift up on or anything. I wish it had some sort of a shock on it, but when you go to lift it, you push the center in, and then you have to kind of bring your thumb up on the inside. But and then when you put it down, just make sure you press in to make sure it clicks. Otherwise, sometimes it may not shut right away, and you just got to push it down. But very simple to lift up. The nice thing for this bike is it does give you grab handles here on the side for your passenger to hold on to. Though I've been told that even with the handles, sometimes it's a little harder to hold on to because the bike does have a good bit of torque. But at least gives them something there. Now I will add the backrest, which will take these little body plates out or whatnot, which really aren't hard. They're on 2 screws. And then you slide them off. I think you might just have to twist the antenna off too. And then you put the 4 discs on, the 2 for each side, because the backrest for these bikes are removable. So you just turn a key on it and it pops right off. And then on the other side, like I said, I mounted a USB port for a rider. I bought it cheap up at, I think it was $14. It was up at Cycle Gear. I ran the wire down through, ran it to the battery, and then all I did was just kind of zip tie it there to kind of clean it up. You can just lift it off. It is weather sealed, so you can just kind of, and it's out of the way too. You don't really see it unless you're looking for it. So that was kind of a nice addition for anybody who is riding with. All right, so just a quick side view of the motor. The belt drive on this is on the right side of the bike. The nice thing is with the new Venture and the new Eluder is they really took passenger comfort into a serious state for this bike. They added these nice footboards, which you can actually remove the bolts and you can shift it up if you need to. I think it adds about 1 inch, give or take, of height difference. This is on the low setting, but they are really, really well padded. It gives the rider something really comfortable to sit on. If you were to take this screw out here, you'll get into the preload. You twist that, pull that guy off. And then on the fly, you can actually switch the preload if you need to here by just twisting that little knob with a screwdriver. It gives you settings, and then it even gives you measurements here that you can follow, and it'll help shift that preload. And then I added the battery terminal plug here for the battery tender. I just ran it to the battery, brought it around, zip tied it, ran the wire real nice, and it actually sticks out there perfectly, so you can pop that cap off. You don't have to have this plate off for that to happen. You can just pull it out from underneath it and plug your bike in if you need to. The bike did not come standard with that, which I thought was kind of, I don't want to say bogus, but you pay this kind of money for a bike. It'd be kind of nice if they add that kind of thing in for the person buying it. So it's as simple as that. So underneath that cap there, it's just like the CB and some other electronics. So you just simply pull this little plug out, a little half twist here. It just removes out, just a little body clip, and you can slide the panel down. So that's the CB. Oh, and your brake fluids there as well. So that's just a quick, easy access to that. Just put this back in. Done this a couple times, and each time it likes to fight me still. So, yep, there it's in. Put that clip back in, and now it's good to go. The nice thing with this bike are these floorboards. They're huge. I'm pretty sure they're probably the largest ones on any bike that's standard. Has a real nice cushion underneath it, and they do take vibrating out really well. These are removable. I believe there's a screw underneath there. You can replace these little skid plates, but they do fold up. But it's nice because if you want, you can take your foot and just set it back here for just nice little sport riding, or you can really extend them out if you want. But I wear a size, I think my boots are 12, and I'm 12 or 13, and I'm a 14 sneaker, and it fits really, really well underneath this. And the brakes just has a real nice, you can just lift your toe up and you're on the brake really easily. A feature I really love on this bike is it is air-cooled. It does get a little warm, and underneath the bottom here, there's a little vent. It's the same on the left side of the bike as well. You just flip a little tab, and these vents open and close. Open these up. They don't look like a lot, but the airflow that comes through here hits your legs and kind of comes past the motor. It's phenomenal. And it's nice to just close those up in the wintertime when you get less air around there, and you kind of get the motor heat radiating. The fairing of this bike is huge. When you're sitting behind it, you can definitely tell the width is there. But the overall airflow coming around is really, really great as well. All right, so the windshield that is on this bike currently is not the windshield that comes standard. This is the well, it's not aftermarket, it's OEM, but you buy it off the Yamaha site. It's like $120. My family got it for me as a Christmas gift because I wanted something that was a little bit taller. The standard windshield that goes on this bike is a very low cut, I'm not even sure, it's probably more like a splitter, but 4 screws take it in and out. So you remove these 4 screws here, comes out, and there's plastic screws here with little rubber bushings behind it that take the vibrating out of it, but it actually, it puts it on pretty nice. This just adds about 6 inches worth, and I'll tell you what, it's a night and day difference when you're on the highway, so that's a really great piece to stick on. Or if you want to ride around with this thing for, like around town or something like that, you can swap it out very, very quickly. This does have a bit of a slope, I think, like right here. So it kind of comes up on an angle and then it really curves up. Throws the air over your head really nicely. This kind of sits, I'd say, just below my eyesight. So it's noticeable, but it really does help out a lot. And like I said, I wear a full face helmet, full face modular helmet because I do have the comm system in that, the Senna comm system. I don't use the comm on the bike because all the buddies that I ride with all have Sennas as well. So it just makes it easier to communicate. Versus, I'm not even sure how to use the comm system in this. You actually have to plug the system in on the tank, which I didn't show that, so we'll go up here and look real quick. The comm system plugs in right here behind the tank. If you buy the helmet kit, I think HJC is the one that makes it. Okay, so now it engaged the alarm system. It is very loud. The speaker's down underneath the back saddlebag. So if you click this down, you open up the fuel door, let it sit for 10 seconds, it'll start to blink, and then you hear the loud 2 beeps that's telling you that it's deactivated itself. There you go. Light goes out and then you can close that back up. Otherwise, if you go to tilt the bike up or something like that or move it, it'll set the alarm off and it's very loud, very obnoxious. All right, so I'll turn this on real quick so you can see what the headlights and the turn signals look like. The rear has 3 lights on it. The middle one is just a static light. And then the rest, or the turn signals, will blink on the 2 saddlebags. So the daytime running lights are the outer ones, but those are also the high beam bulbs. Then you have your turn signal up top in the mirrors, or you can do your 4-ways. But if you fire the bike up, you get your low beams in the center, and then your high beams on the outside. I'm not sure. There you go. But to me, it has a real nice look up front. Kind of gives it a mean look when you're riding down the road. I'm going to add all LED accent lighting through the bike. I think it'll look really neat with some red lighting or even blue underneath. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fire it up. I just tried this earlier and it turns out it was a little too close to the exhaust. It was really, really loud. Now, I am getting slip-ons for this. There's finally a company that makes them for this bike that look almost 100% stock. It's just that the tips are slightly different, but they give you an option of slanted or straight. It's made by Tab Performance, so that's going to be my next purchase for this bike. They're like $600. Give you 3 different baffle options or a no baffle option, but you can actually, if you buy with one set of baffles in it, you can go back onto their website and purchase other baffles for them. So if you want to change it, the loudness and stuff like that, you can do that very simple. On this bike, basically go over it. 1900 cc's, badass, comfortable, and if you're just not a big Harley guy, or there's certain, not everybody is into your standard bagger. I really do like the Indian Chieftain though. I think that would give it a good run for its money, and that's got a lot of power to it. bike's just like I said, it's overall, it's comfortable. It's got great floorboards on it. Great for 2 people. Like I said, I'm adding the backrest to it, which is going to make it even more comfortable for my passenger. The options for the bike are great. The heated seats are fantastic. The overall traction on the bike, I've taken it up and down some back roads. I even rode it up a dirt road on a mountain, which was pretty steep to it, like an outlook to look over a valley. And it handled itself really, really well going up that. The braking on the bike is phenomenal. The power delivery is phenomenal. I can't say anything better. The only thing I can say I don't like about the motor is the 4,750 RPM red line limit. You hit that so fast. It does have a lot of low-end torque, and the way the weight distributes itself underneath, it's got a low sump oil system because it's actually integrated oil tank as well as a internal cooler. So all the weight's at the bottom of the bike, but it throws it down the road so well. I found like if you're riding around town, you're not braking 35 mile an hour. 4th gear is the best gear on this bike as far as just overall riding because it delivers the power so well. If you're riding down back roads and you're slowing down to take some hard turns, the minute you crack the throttle and pop it back out, you're going, and it pulls so well. If you're going around vehicles and you downshift 1 or 2 gears, passing is so easy on this bike. Like I said, you hit that rev limiter so quick. I think on the Raider it was over 5,000. I think it was 5,300 RPMs. I'm not 100%. That didn't have a tack on it, and I'm not sure I really ever looked up the red line on that bike. I just know it definitely was a lot higher than this one. But you can't beat this V-twin. You can't beat Yamaha's V-twin overall. Like this 1900 and even their 1600s and 1100. I think they're now 1200, 1300 series. Their V-twins are probably next to the best thing on the market. Everybody else has kind of just been throwing out different motors, throughout the years. Yamaha's just continually kind of revamping their series. It's the same motors, just they're just changing the heads on them or changing the cylinder bores in them. It's just they stand behind their product. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like I haven't had an issue with Yamaha, and after my accident with the Raider, that thing ran going into the shop. That was the last time it ran. Something got cut underneath the frame or something like that. So just overall, and it took the impact really, really well, and didn't fold up on me or anything like that. I just the way I flew off, I was very fortunate to walk away from that accident as well as I did, and I couldn't go with another bike because I think it would have been about $1,000 more to get the Harley bagger version, like the Road Glide or something like that, and I can't complain. The shop's really great. I do kind of wish Yamaha had shops kind of like Harley Davidson does, where they kind of make you feel more like a family. But I can't complain at all with the service that Yamaha provides as far as a corporate level or just at the shops. Any of the shops that I've walked into to research these bikes or to look at them have been more than welcoming and very helpful knowledge and stuff. I personally use B&B down in Manheim, Pennsylvania. They are phenomenal guys to work with down there. Their service department is always quick to get back to you. Their parts department are very well tuned as far as how to find the proper piece that you need and get it to you quickly. And their sales staff is just phenomenal to work with, very knowledgeable, and they're there to sell you the bike that you want. They aren't, pushing you to buy the big, to buy the R1 or to buy the Venture or the Eluder. They are there to give you what best suits you, but at the same time more in the lines of what you're looking for. The next bike I'm going to review is my brother's Yamaha Bolt, which is a 2017 Bolt. Now he went to a different shop for his, but again they worked with him very well. It's just the overall the staff that at the local shops that sell Yamahas around here I think are really, really well respected guys, and they all have a lot of riding experience, so they're not just pulling your chain when it comes to certain bikes here and there. They've experience on all their bikes and they have knowledge on all of them, so I have no issue sending guys to any of the local shops around here. But yeah, there's nothing I could say negative on the bike. It definitely has looks for certain people, and to me I think it looks great. Kind of reminds me of like the old 70s Challenger, even though I'm not a Dodge guy. But it still has a very unique look to it, and a lot of guys always turn their heads when you're going down the road, and because it just catches them, especially with all that LED accent or the lighting up front. It catches your eye. It's nice and big. It's got a nice throaty sound to it, and just overall, it's just a great performing bike. So I hope this review really helped you out. Like I said, I'm going to do a review on a 2017 Yamaha Bolt R spec, and then I did one on a 2017 R3. The video didn't come out as well as I wanted, so I'm going to do another video to kind of give you the different side of things. And then check out my MT10 video if that's a bike you're looking at. You know, I got experience riding both things. I just prefer a cruiser over a sport bike. I wouldn't mind getting a used R6 or R1 or something to have for riding around town or just going out and just doing some back road riding with some buddies. But the overall style of riding that I'm into and that I really enjoy is riding a cruiser of any type. You know, particularly this bagger. My Raider was like a sport cruiser. It was more like a chopper style bike, which is still a great bike. It just didn't have any storage to it. It was the only downside to that bike, but it was a gorgeous blue color. So, you know, if you have any questions, please add them in the comments. If I really don't have access to a ton of bikes right now, I'm just kind of going with ones that people own that I'm friends with or family that has them that I can kind of throw out small reviews on. I have a buddy who has a 1990 Ducati 900 Super Sport that told me I can do a review on that. That was a bike he rebuilt. Phenomenal, gorgeous bike. He rides it, you know, on occasion. He does ride it a lot. He really does, you know, hammer it down pretty good. But the parts for that bike are very hard to find because of the year of the bike and the style of the bike. So he did tell me I could do a review on that, and I think he's looking to buy another bike that, if that comes together, I do believe that's a Harley. I'll do a review on that. So I'm not brand specific other than when I'm purchasing. I'll review any bike. I'll give my honest opinion on it, and I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it, you know, for whatever. I just do it because I enjoy it, and I just want to get the information out there for anybody else who's looking to get into riding or looking to switch bikes or try something different, and you know, hopefully relay the information on those bikes so that you have a full in-depth view of it versus what some other guys are putting out, and I feel like I can get that content across fairly well. So subscribe to the channel if you'd like. It's kind of sparse right now as far as, you know, because riding weather is really horrible. I will do some riding videos of all the bikes that I review, and, you know, hopefully maybe meet up with some people that, you know, do this a lot more than I do. It's just really neat to kind of, you know, to get together in the riding community. And there's a couple charity rides I'm going to do that I'm going to record and just kind of, you know, do some cool videos with. So, yeah, like I said, subscribe and like this, and ask any questions if you need to. And ride safe. Hope you have a great day. Thanks.